Initiating a small business is hard. 50% of small businesses fail in their first year, and 75% of those that make it through the first year fail again within 5 years. What steps can you take to make sure your business succeeds, goes smoothly, and gives you time and money to enjoy life? There was no answer to that question until I read The E-Myth Revisited: Why Most Small Businesses Don't Work and What to Do About It by Michael E. Gerber. Have you been thinking about starting your own business? Or do you already have one, but feel like you have too much to do? I desire to have studied this book before starting my company. Let's dive into it. Part 1. The Fatal Assumption. Imagine you're one of the best at your job, but don't feel valued or paid enough. As a result of a bad experience with your boss, you question why you are still working for them. My business would run better if I did it. Starting your own business is what you choose to do. But there's a catch. You're about to turn into the boss you hate. Others start companies because they believe they can do technical work and run a business doing it. But that's a mistaken notion. For example, knowing how to do the job is not the same as knowing how to run a business. Example: just because you can edit videos well doesn't mean you can run a business that edits videos. This error causes many businesses to fail. When the technician believes this false belief, the company that was meant to free him ends up enslaving him. During his previous job, he was only responsible for one task. Now, he has to complete 10 additional tasks that he is not accustomed to. You realize you have a job one day instead of a business, and it's the worst job ever. Your boss used to be your boss, but now your business is bossing you. They are the worst bosses ever. At some point, the job you used to love will turn into the job you hate. Fear, exhaustion, and failure follow the trip that began with excitement. Learn why this happens and how to stop it in the next section. Part 2. The Entrepreneur, Manager, and Technician. Starting a business makes you 3 people in one: an entrepreneur, a manager, and a technician. Whoever has been on a diet knows that inside them there is both a fat and a skinny person. Diet and exercise are what skinny guy knows you need to do to get skinny. Simply cut out the skinny guy like a marble figure. That being said, fat guy doesn't want to run. Guy in the fat suits likes junk food. Do your workout later, maybe tomorrow, or never. These words are familiar to anyone who has ever been in a fight between a fat guy and a skinny guy. You are both skinny guy and fat guy. For thin guys, promises to keep are always important. It's always the fat guy's job to keep the skinny guy's vows. Because you can't be both fat and tiny, you know what I mean. The two of them know that someone has to lose. Actually, every small business owner is going through that kind of war. However, it's even worse because the entrepreneur, the manager, and the technician are all fighting. Everyone is losing this fight, unfortunately. Why is that? Knowing the differences between them will help you understand quickly. According to the entrepreneur, this is the dreamer and creative part of you that has big ideas and pictures a better life. The manager. This part of you handles the details and makes sure everything runs smoothly. Planners and managers love order. It could be in the kitchen, on a desk, or in the office. But everyone has a junk box where they keep random things. It's unclear how it got there, but one morning you found it full of random things. Other things inside include rubber bands, old keys that don't match, a broken watch, batteries that may or may not work, and pins and nails that are just waiting to poke you when you reach inside. The manager sees this when he visits the business of an entrepreneur. They're unable to work with this mess. He notices a junk box that needs to be emptied and put back in order. To keep things organized, a manager would bring a label maker to work instead of shoving things into drawers, or stacking them up. Everything should be put back where it belongs. The keys are on a key ring, and the screws and nails are in plastic containers. Businesses' managers deal with people and projects in the same way they deal with junk drawers. They purposely make issues arise. Everyone is responsible for their own responsibilities and make sure they are carried out. The technician. This person is a doer who loves action. Engineers and technicians live in the moment and focus on their work. They wish to work right away. They want to know how to do it, and no one should interrupt them. Unfortunately, everyone gets in the way of the tools. Although the entrepreneur gives the worker new and interesting work, they are always getting in the way or distracting them. Another issue is the manager, who wants to include technicians in their system. Technician would work every day and never think about the future if they could. You have the worst attitude. Any business that will last for a long time will probably have these three characters. One part of you wants things to be organized, and the other part dreams about the future. Perhaps you can relate to the part of him that can't stand being idle and jumps right into work, feeling bad if he isn't doing something all the time. Finally, to sum up this section, you have three sides to you: the entrepreneur, the manager, and the technician. The technician does the work, the manager worries about everything, and the entrepreneur dreams for the future. Part 3. 3 phases of a business. The 3 steps of growth for a business are infancy, adolescence, and maturity. Infancy, the age of the technician. You do everything by yourself at first. It's fun and tiring at the same time. You do a lot of things at once and work long hours, but you quickly learn that you can't handle everything by yourself. When business owners give up, a lot of them fail here. When the owner sees that the company can no longer operate in the same manner as before, infancy comes to an end. It will have to change in order to stay alive. When that happens, most businesses fail because they realize how bad things really are. The technician walks away and locks the door. Adolescence follows for the rest. Adolescence, the manager stage. The point at which you finally decide to get business help is very important. For a business to last, it has to go through the teenage phase. Every business owner needs help to stay in business. What kind of help does a worker who is too busy get? For technical help. Who can do the work that isn't getting done? It's likely the work you don't want to do. You hire someone to make the product if you like making sales. If you like making things, you hire a salesman. An accountant is usually the person to call if you don't know who else to bring in. This is because most small business owners hate accounting. So you hire Robert as your first worker. Robert knows how to do math. He works hard and has a lot of knowledge. Robert has been doing math for longer than you've been living. He has spent his whole life working in businesses like yours. Now Robert is going to find out the deepest secret you've been keeping from everyone. He will quickly figure out that you are not skilled. Robert starts working on your books on his first day on the job. He's going through the huge stack of charts, printouts, and papers you gave him. It hits you all at once. You no longer need to do that job. Now you can be a manager too, not just a tech. After a few weeks, you learn that Robert can do more than just do accounts. He knows how to take calls, help customers, and clean up the front of the shop. He's pretty good at many things. With Robert around, things are easier. You take longer lunch breaks and have more free time. But there's a catch. You don't tell Robert what to do in your business, you let him do it on his own. Robert will do what he wants if you don't tell him what to do. This is a risky game. This means that your business is slowly changing from the way you used to run it to something whole new. Robert hires more people because he needs more help. Because you are so busy running the business and working, they answer to Robert instead of you. You do this because it lets you do the things you love. until things start going wrong. A lot of mistakes are made. Customers are upset that things aren't the same as they used to be, and dates are missed. This bad management starts to cost money. You learn that not everyone cares as much about your business as you do. Now you understand that you should have never trusted Robert or anyone else. You should have been smarter. As the balls keep falling at an impossible rate, you understand that no one is ready to work as hard as you do. You are the only one who has your opinion, skills, wants, or interests. You have to do it if you want it to be done right. There will always be a busy owner in a business run by teens. They are trying to do everything themselves, even though they have hired people to do it. People work less when the manager does more. You have no idea how to do it any other way. Every teen business hits a point where it's too much for the owner to handle. You can't run your business and can't even keep Robert in line. You threw things at Robert and ran away when he came over. Robert also has wants, though. He needs more help. He needs to know why he's moving forward. He needs to know the big picture of the business and where it's going. How are you going to grow if you can't handle Robert? If the business grows, you'll say, "Forget this. Let's go back to the way things were when it was just you and me." We'll not worry about all of these workers and costs. That's why you shrink the business until it's just right for you. You don't know you've been there before, though. You couldn't do it when you were little. That's why you shrink the business until it's just right for you. You feel good for a while, but then you wake up and say, "I don't want to do this anymore. There's no way you can get out of bed right now." Then you tell your partner, "I'm not feeling well. I feel like I'm sick. I don't want to work." But if you don't go work, no one else will, your partner says, in a quiet voice. You know right now that you don't own a business, you own a job. It's the worst job in the world, because you don't get paid when you're sick. No one will do the work for you today if you don't show up. This business isn't for sale because it would mean giving someone a job you hate. Work is all that's left after the dream is gone. What will happen if I don't go small and keep growing? Well, you'll destroy yourself in the end. Let's say you stay in business even though the odds are against you because you're stubborn. Whatever it takes, you have to work all the time to keep the lights on. The business has taken over your life. It's the same every day. You don't change. The company does not fail. Your mind and body do. You get hurt and sick, but you keep going. Your life is like a fan that's been on all day. After one last whee, the fan blade stops turning. This is how most small business owners feel right now. It doesn't need to be this way though. There is a better way to do it. We've talked about the issues that make most small businesses fail up to this point. We'll talk about how to fix it in the next part of the video. The maturity phase is the first part. Maturity isn't a given. Many companies go through childhood and adolescence, but not all of them reach maturity. You might get to this step if you're lucky. But here's the important thing. Maturity is not the end result of the first two stages. You do not have to do them. You heard that right. The grown-up business can begin right away. Companies like Apple, McDonald's, Disney, and IBM didn't become mature over time. They were already grown when they began. If the founder thinks like an entrepreneur, the business can start out developed. It's about making your business work without you. The goal is to make the business depend on systems instead of people. Building a business that depends on systems. You need to set up systems for everything if you want to be successful. You shouldn't have to be there for your business to run. Let's say you want to franchise your business. How could you make the 5,000th machine work just as well as the first? For every job, you need clear, simple instructions. For instance, if you want to start a cake shop, make sure that each job has clear instructions and a job description. This includes everything from baking cakes to cleaning the shop. This makes sure that everything is the same and makes it easy for everyone to follow. Steps for building a business. There are 3 parts to this process: innovation, quantification, and orchestration. 1. New ideas. Don't just try to improve your goods, but also how your business works. It's possible for little changes to have big effects. One way to increase sales is to change how you greet people. 2. Quantification. Figure out what changes do by measuring them. Keep an eye on the numbers to find out what works and what doesn't. This gives you real proof of what makes your business better. 3. Orchestration. Make changes that work into normal processes when they're done well. When you know what works, do it all the time for your business. To sum up, a lot of businesses fail because the people who own them don't know the difference between running a business and doing expert work. You need to be an entrepreneur, a manager, and a technician at the same time. You also need to set up processes that will let your business run without you. You can build a great and long-lasting business by always coming up with new ideas, measuring your progress, and making your processes more uniform. Thanks for seeing. I hope you learned something from the video.